Kingdom and United Arab Emirates.
Journalist Fishayo Showombo released after being detained at the force headquarters following a story exposing corruption in the police.
And like always, we will be reviewing the dailies with an analyst to reviewing them with us. Many thanks for joining us on The Breakfast on PlusTvAfrica. I am Justin Akadonye.
And I am Mercy Bopo. It's good to have you join us this beautiful Tuesday morning.
And as always, we will be starting with stories that are trending and stories that are just making discussions across the various platforms and various circles. And the very first one we'll be analyzing right now is Fisaya Shoyombo, a journalist who was detained yesterday and eventually released after some time for his publication on alleged corruption in the Nigerian police force. Mercy, this is just one case too many. It is not the first time that we've seen, heard, and or even have witnessed issues of journalist intimidation by the Nigerian police. Sometimes, or most times, when journalists release publications that are not favorable to the Nigerian police force, they are mostly either detained, beaten, or sometimes harassed as well.
Well, according to, the tweet that he put out, Fisiayo Shorombo, he talked about the fact that he was invited. According to the invitation that he got, they found some elements, phone numbers. His contact was put out amongst those that should be invited or investigated, and so he showed up. Now, it's okay to be invited by security agents or agency. Anyone can be invited. Anyone at all can be invited, and that's all right. But it's just the pattern. And because this is a journalist, and because of the story, it's all right for everyone to, come up with the theory to say, oh, this is also another, intimidation. This is also another form of, the might, the federal might, showing itself and flexing muscles at this point in time. So yes, but let's also talk about the issue of police. It's a good thing that he's been released. And we have several reports over time. Nigeria at the time ranked 120 on World Press. Talking about World Press Freedom Index, we rank 120 compared to, that is at 2020, if I'm not mistaken, or 2021. Now that's if you compare that to the previous report, we ranked 115 out of 118 countries. It doesn't really tell good for us as a country. Right? Because for democracy, you would have to talk about a free press, a free media. It is very, very apt. And the issue of freedom of speech or freedom of, however you want to put it, is a fundamental human right across. It's a universal human concern or right, if you want to put it. So as journalists, they're also expressing the fundamental or universal human right across. Right. So it's nothing very special. It's not like it's just limited to anyone. And if we wanted to talk about the issue of fake news, the issue of libel and what have you, we have laws. There are laws that can take care of all of that. And that's why a lot of quarters were really concerned, at the time where, the federal government had plans of trying to regulate, the social media. And if you're saying, oh, there's fake news, there's issue of libel and what have you, there's a law that actually takes care of all of that. Cyberbullying, what have you, crime and criminality. But the issue with us over the years and over time is the fact that we have too many laws without enforcement. So, but you also want to agree with me that there's so much intimidation, there's so much harassment, there's so much arrest and what have you with journalists. They face that. Now, there's a report according to, there's a report that was made available according to, Article 19. Article 19 made that report sometime talking about, the number of journalists that's been, intimidated, harassed, and detained. So you want to also agree with me that the figure keeps increasing. From 2019, at the time you had 19 journalists that have been attacked and detained. And then in 2020, we're looking at the case of 51. And according to those reports, the government is really responsible and behind a lot of some of these attacks that, you know, the people have been faced. So this is just one out of so many cases, you know, that journalists are really facing in Nigeria. And to begin to report some of these stories is really, really very crucial. I mean, if you are a journalist, you want to report the issue of, you know, police brutality, corruption, and politicians, human rights abuses, and what have you. It is so difficult, you know, to practice in Nigeria.
The government to tackle issues of accountability, and when this, or we are not allowed to do our jobs, it is really very unbecoming. I will move away from Fisayo Shoyombo. Another story that is making headlines right now is, you know, controversial journalist Kemi Olunloyo. Senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has actually asked the Nigeria police to invite, you know, Olunloyo over her, well, quote, reckless comment concerning the deaths of Sylvester Oromoni. You know, remember the story of Down College, the student who was actually bullied. So it is actually trending.
As much as, you know, one would also expect that, you know, at this point in time, we should be able to be human. Okay, as long as everyone has a right and has an opinion, because that's what it is. Everyone has a right to an opinion and all of that. But we also need to understand that we come to the fact that we're still human beings. And so if you come from that particular angle, we probably might just, you know, be very careful and cautious. First of all, you need to understand that, you know, the family is grieving. There's a loss. A human life has been lost. And that's why, secondly, you also need to understand, because it brings us back, you know, to the fact that at some point government will want to say we need to begin to regulate, we need to begin to control what information that people put out, because it can be very dangerous, and it can cause, you know, a lot of mayhem in society, in the country. And, you know, you can go, I have seen a lot of emotions everywhere. I mean, a lot of persons are reacting, very angry, really very angry. But like I always say, let's not forget that we're human beings. And in all of our endeavors, whether you are a journalist or you are a police officer, you are a governor, you're a president, whatever it is that you are, you need to always get back to the fact that you're a human being. And if you understand the fact that you're a human being, there would be issue of empathy. I really do not know how to put it. It's not a license. I don't know if you're getting my point.
Course,
so we also need to, you know, you put up, yes, first you're a human being before you're a journalist or you're a president or whatever it is that you are. And so I think that we should not let whatever it is that we do, our profession, override us. We should be guided by the fact that we're humans and, you know, act in that, you know, that particular way, in that particular line. And so all of the statement, because one would expect that, I mean, making such kind of statement, how would the family feel? Whether or not there's some element of truth to it or not, the fact that you have investigations ongoing, the fact that, you know, the law is going to take its full course, and that's why we have the institution of government to take care of situations like this. Let's be very careful the kind of comments that we make. I really don't know. That's the much that I can start inviting individuals or persons for questioning by security agencies or, you know, security personnel. There's nothing wrong as long as they do it in accordance with the law.
True. Yeah, like you have said, I couldn't agree more. You know, as journalists, we should be, you know, careful, you know, about the things we say or write before we go to press. We should, as much as possible, be able to substantiate all of our claims, all of our reports. So at the end of the day, you know, we don't lose our soul, we don't lose our credibility, and you know, so when we come out in future to say things, you know, people would actually appreciate them and you know, take us for our words. So I understand that the position of Falana, you know. Yes. All right. The last story trending across some social spaces is. Pantami, that's the Minister of Digital Economy. You know, well, the story is just everywhere that he had actually flown out his family, you know, in the wake of Nigeria having a row with the UAE. Some Nigerians are saying that where does his solidarity lie when people are talking of boycotting flights, you know, to UAE, and Nigerians being stranded here because of travel bans and everything. He, you know, flew his family out, you know, through the same.
You know, following all of this controversy with the airlines, the fact that Nigeria is on the red list with some countries and the restriction, not to airlift some Nigeria from a particular location to another one. Some persons are saying that, really this is actually a concern of the elites. The poor, the masses, they would say this is a concern of some specific in the society. It doesn't concern everybody because there are some people that cannot afford, they have no business, going anywhere. They're in Nigeria. And even within Nigeria, how many of them have been able to, board a flight from a particular location to another location? So it's more like this is a justification to say that this is morally, an elite concern. Yeah. And it concerns all of them. But, the issue of solidarity and concern is also another issue. It brings us back to the fact that the major concern, the major issue that we have as a country, or not really necessarily the major issue, but one of the problems that is really strong because it trickles down to all of the actions of government and inaction of government, is interest. When your personal interest overrides national interest, your actions will always speak for you.
True.
But of course, we never could tell, what the emergency might be. It could be a health concern. But it also brings us back to the fact that why don't we have, our health system functional? It could also be educational issues. Why can't we fix our own home? Why can't we fix our country? What exactly are we looking for outside when we can actually have it inside? Well, it is what it is.
All right, that's as much as we can take on top trending. We'll be back in a minute with Off the Press. That's a review of the front pages of various newspapers in a moment. It's still the breakfast on PlusTvAfrica. Do join us again.
If it's all in trending in the entertainment industry, then we'll definitely be talking about it.
We bring you the funny, controversial, and hottest topics making waves in the entertainment scene worldwide.
We also interview all your favorite celebrities and keep you locked down with fun segments and live performances. Tea Time, showing every weekday at 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. and of course the repeat at 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. From the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. You have it already, have you?
I am not hungry. If I need appointment, all I need to do is to start praising government.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say. The moment we stop having charlatans occupy political offices, we will curtail hate speech.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
Hello and welcome. It's Nimasa This Week, the voice of maritime. Nimasa This Week is brought to you by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. Statutorily mandated to ensure that there's regulation and promotion of matters affecting our waters. NIMASA bears responsibility for search and rescue, shipping development, and ship registration.
NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime, showing on this channel.
Welcome back to The Breakfast and Plus TV Africa. Time for Off the Press. As usual, we'll take you through the pages of the national dailies, and we also have an analyst join the conversation. Chris Kainde Nwandu is on standby. Good morning, Chris. It's good to have you join us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good morning, Chris.
Okay, so I start off with the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Let's find out what big stories we have on the Daily Trust. And the banner caption reads, Nigerians to pay more taxes, tariffs. That's what the federal government is quoted to say. Prices of drinks, tobacco, stamp duty to rise. Subsidy removal. Additional taxes will aggravate economic woes. That's what experts are quoted to say. Obasanjo to Nigerians, don't expect anything from Buhari. That's the president, former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, advising Nigerians and saying, don't expect anything from the current president. You also have federal government rakes in 227 billion naira as MTN wins 5G license. COVID-19 unvaccinated consultation ongoing. Foreign Affairs Ministry is quoted on that. Declares state of emergency on terrorists. Enclaves Tambawal urges Buhari. 20 killed in Bauchi auto crash. Like Facebook, Zoom to start charging 7.5% VAT from Nigerian users. So it brings us back to the fact that there will be more taxes and tariffs according to the federal government. But that's the much we can take this morning on the Daily Trust newspaper.
Away from the Daily Trust, we'll move on next to the Daily Times newspaper. The banner headline for this morning is Omicron. We've initiated steps to make UK others reverse ban on Nigerian travelers. That's according to the federal government. Warns that while countries are free to set out measures to protect their citizens, Nigeria should not be singled. Fine, but then let's see if we have more. $418 million debt. Court fixes December 21 to hear pending applications in 36 Government Times newspaper this morning.
Away from the Daily Times, let's quickly look at the leadership news. It's also right you find underneath the bold caption. Federal government rallies global consensus on asset recovery. Afenifere seeks fresh probe of Bola Ige's mother. Omicron, United Kingdom to lift travel ban on Nigeria.
The next paper we are reviewing is the Daily. Indra government confiscates